I had zero intention, motivation, or interest in being in real estate. My favorite line as real estate agent as a profession was up there with toll booth taker and taxidermist. A lot of them didn't trust real estate agents. A lot of people still don't trust real estate agents. I always tell people if I can't show my value, I shouldn't get paid.
What's one of the worst mistakes you've seen?
And we had an early offer at 1.6. We ended up selling it for 1.250.
So you're telling me real estate doesn't always go up?
It does not always go up, no. Favorite pastime of mine is challenging like artificial intelligence and, the Zestimates. You want a real estate agent that's gonna lose sleep at night if something goes wrong, and believe me, I do.
Today I'm sitting down with Meredith Martin. She's a fantastic real estate agent based in the Reno-Tahoe markets as well as the San Francisco Bay Area market. Meredith, today we're gonna talk about your story, how you got into real estate, and what your background is and all things in between. For people that don't know you, do you want to give a brief intro of who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm still going to say thank you for setting everything up. It's a lot of work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I started in 1994. I think it's 32 years ago now. I don't do math in my head as I tell people. I appreciate people that do. I had zero intention, motivation, or interest in being in real estate. My favorite line, as I told you, is real estate agent as a profession was up there with toll booth taker and taxidermist. And we don't even have toll booth takers anymore.
Yeah.
But at the time we did, in jobs that I ever thought I would do.
Right.
And so I started with a company called Lofts Unlimited, and I was just in the right place at the right time. The real big money was in Pacific Heights and on the other side of the tracks. Nobody wanted to be in South of Market, so I was a big fish in a small pond, and luck had a lot to do with it. Why I got so good. I started selling kind of new developments down there, but really we were selling these romantic warehouses. And at the time, there was a bunch of 20-year-olds that came into .com money, and they all wanted to buy a live-work warehouse that they could redo with the big, brick and all of that. And so I got a front row seat to a lot of founders and a lot of clients. And I would say that my book of business, or where I made my mark, was kind of offering insights that they couldn't find themselves, because we're talking really intelligent people. A lot of them didn't trust real estate agents. A lot of people still don't trust real estate agents. A lot of them are like, think we're overpaid. So that's something that you're always showing your value. And I always tell people if I can't show my value, I shouldn't get paid. Yeah. And I usually do show my value. That's
I like
the goal.
That. You're transparent about it.
Yeah.
And how do you navigate that in today's market? I know there are plenty of people out there that think real estate agents are overpaid and that they don't add a ton of value.
Yeah. I don't work with the ones that think that anymore because I don't have to. I get enough referrals from people that have found value in my work, and they're intelligent people.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful. I don't do as much business. I tell people I'm not an empire builder because I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
And I do tell people that you want a real estate agent that's going to lose sleep at night if something goes wrong, and believe me, I do.
Yeah.
I was just dealing with the sewage mess yesterday, canceling plans for a listing that I have coming up in Incline. I really wanted to post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because it was so good. But I'm going to wait till that sells.
Okay.
I'll save that for...
That'll be a good story.
Yeah, it's a good one. So you want to be a real estate agent.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
But no, I'm pretty quick about showing people what they can't see. And a favorite pastime of mine is challenging like artificial intelligence and, the Zestimates. That's my favorite. And, the Redfin algorithms, because they're all proprietary algorithms. And before that, I was challenging Case-Shiller, because if you look at the Case-Shiller index, that's also proprietary algorithm. And people lean on it a lot. And they call San Francisco, well, what is San Francisco? They don't even include the 9 Bay Area counties. It's only 7 Bay Area counties. And if you drill down to how they come up with their numbers, it's like they're gross generalizations. So I love digging into that. That's, and then providing those insights to clients for, helping them navigate what moves they should make. It's a big, even if you have a lot of money, you don't want to make mistakes in real estate because it's expensive.
Yeah, it is certainly expensive. So you're serving clients. When you say you want to help them see what they may not be able to see, what does that look like in practice?
So I don't typically run around and send my clients like, oh, did you see this listing? Unless it's off market. And there's a lot of channels for off market or water cooler talk or, hey, do you have something coming up in a low inventory environment? But I'm not trying to feed listings down them because I assume most of them have checked Zillow, have their own feeds, and it's just going to be spam for them. But they will send me this. What do you think? And then it's like, all right, well, I walk through, I'm like, well, you got a power line in front of you. Let's start with that. That view could go away. Just a precursory look at it. I'm worried about the foundation or, those kind of things.
Okay.
And there's certain things that I look at and I go, yeah, that's cosmetic, no problem. But there's some big ticket items that, can be buried in there that are going to be into consideration way above and beyond whether you even like the property and want to make an offer on it.
Right. Okay. So you're helping people de-risk the transaction from day one, essentially.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some bad real estate mistakes.
Yeah.
People can lose money in real estate.
What's one of the worst mistakes you've seen story-wise?
Wow.
I don't think people don't hear these stories enough.
Yeah.
People don't hear these stories enough.
There is, I think I can talk about that because we have, we have fiduciary responsibility to our clients, but I did have, during, San Francisco, one of the big things that we're seeing, the trend that is, becoming obvious is that the homeowners' dues are increasing so much across the board. And that's nationally, that's not locally. And I try to normalize that for people. But there was a property in San Francisco that I was the listing agent for, and it was that particular client paid 1.6 for it like 16 years ago. Mm-hmm. And that area fell out of favor hard during COVID. That was pre-Lurie, the new mayor who everyone loves, myself included. And the homeowners' dues were like $4,000 a month. And they included a great Four Seasons staff that said, hello, Miss Martin. Do you need help with your bags, Miss Martin? And the Four Seasons attached to it. But you walked out your door and it was like Armageddon.
Yeah.
It wasn't
not a great
good.
area.
Wasn't good at the time. It is totally changed now. I would like to say that it's hugely changed. And San Francisco's known for that. But we had an early offer. We had listed at 185 and nothing was moving in that building. And we had an early offer at 1.6 all cash, somebody who was renting in the building. And we gave them a real mild counter offer, $50,000. We didn't think much of it. This particular buyer was unrepresented. I don't like to do both sides. I avoid it like the plague because I think it's really hard to do a good job. And I really didn't understand who this buyer was. I still don't. He's an enigma for me, and he just walked. And then we didn't end up selling that property for a couple months later. We ended up selling it for 1,250.
Wow.
Which is significantly less than she paid for it 16 years earlier.
Yeah. So you're telling me real estate doesn't always go up?
It does not always go up. No. And you want to make a good purchase, when you buy in. You either want to be able to sit on it and hold it. These flips, sure, it's great when the market is going up, but if you're not an experienced developer and you don't have a team and a crew behind you and you can't turn that, a flip that you're going to buy around 5 months, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because a big cost is, just the cost of trading the real estate is expensive.
Trading and holding.
Yeah, between commissions and tax and, all the point of sale requirements and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever somebody comes to work with you, let's say they're a buyer, what can they expect? What sets you apart from other people that they might have the opportunity to work with?
I try to drill down and find out what they don't even know about themselves and about their own needs. Because, people come to me with sort of an idea of what they want. Some people have strong ideas. I'm going to poke the boundaries a little bit high and low. And then I like to think that I'm good at teasing out, pulling out what really matters to them. I've worked with buyers before, and sometimes buyers will just step out of the market. They're like, nah, it's too hot. Usually I don't lose those buyers though. Usually they'll come back 2 or 3 years later when they're ready, and I play the long game always.
Yeah.
I'm always going to treat somebody well. Like I have sold a property where I met the client and we wrote an offer the same day, but those people knew me for a long time. And then I had a client that said, I only want this, disappeared for 2 years. I said, that's probably doesn't exist. Then it showed up. I gave it to him and he bought it,
There you go.
and then we did 3 more transactions after that, so yeah, teasing out what really matters, what's important, and then setting expectations, hey, this is what your money's going to buy you. This is what your expectations are. This is what we can do. That's a long shot, if you want to wait for it.
Yeah.
A former really, really good agent used to say, especially in the high end, she said that a lot of times it's not about money. It's about time waiting for the right property to show up,
Yeah.
because some people have unlimited funds.
Right. The constraint is not money.
Yeah, the constraint is not money. It's waiting for the right property in the location that fits their needs.
Right. That makes sense. And off camera, you and I talked about, I consider myself a very blunt person. You had mentioned the same about you. How does that help clients? I know many agents who are not that way. They tell you often what you want to hear. They tell you,
Yeah.
they beat around the bush, or maybe they're not very transparent.
No.
How does being blunt serve a client?
So it doesn't waste time. My clients and anybody buying in this market right now, they have more money than time. Mm-hmm. Nobody has time, and nobody has time to waste it.
And you can't get time back.
Yeah, they always say time is the last luxury, right? So it's like, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. I had an attorney once say there's no bad, there's just get the bad facts. Tell me what the bad facts are. Like, don't hide it kind of thing. So, I am definitely, now there's an art to delivering bad news. And also, just because I have an opinion about something doesn't mean I'm right. And that's really important for me to remember. That was a hard lesson for me in the first 10 years of my career. And now I really know, like, no sooner do you say something can't be done than you watch some young agent that just got in the business do it. And you're like, oh,
I was wrong.
So there's advantages to being, an old salty dog. And then there's advantages to being sort of young and fresh and not knowing what can't be done, because, you're just going to go out and do it. Like, you didn't get the memo. It couldn't be done. So you did it.
Right.
So I like to be agile with both of those, but I do think that there's a certain amount of experience that can help troubleshoot you out of problems. My goal is to make it as seamless as possible and to try and avoid those speed bumps, and I spend a lot of time thinking about my escrows, trying to keep people from, hitting roadblocks. They always happen in escrows. You can't help it.
We're kindred spirits. That's us on the lending side. There's so many landmines that you can potentially blow up.
Oh my God, yes.
So if you can anticipate those early and navigate them, then
people get mad at you, and you're like, why am I just hearing about that? And you're like, well, yeah. Some stuff I feel like, if I feel like I should have known it, then I'm having a hard conversation with myself about that.
That's how, yep, exactly. Yeah. So sorry I didn't let you know this sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. So I think that's fantastic. Let's go back to the markets you cover. So I know Reno-Tahoe and San Francisco Bay Area. How do you
navigate that?
Yeah, how do you navigate the two separate markets?
So my focus is Reno and Tahoe, but I have a good book of legacy business. So when I moved up here originally.
When you say up here, you're talking
Reno-Tahoe. When I
Tahoe.
moved back. So I was looking for a long-term retirement plan for myself. Because as a single woman, I couldn't afford to retire in the Bay Area. I already knew that. A good friend of mine was living in Reno. I had come up and visited him quite a bit, and I was like, it took me a little while to get, down for Reno. They used to call it a poor man's Vegas. Not anymore. It's got great culture. I mean, I love it. So I bought my first place using really good agents. Shout out to the Craig team. They did a great job. And I was a tough client because I thought I knew everything. And I knew that real estate agents are the worst clients to have. And I still did it. still did it.
You tell them
I
sorry
still
up
was
front.
arrogant. Yeah. I don't know if I ever fully apologized. Take this as the apology now.
Yeah.
So I bought a little Midtown Craftsman that I could pay cash for. That would be like, if we had another 2008 to 2012 style event, I wouldn't have to worry about, like, I had the place. It was a time capsule. I bought it from the people whose grandfather built it, so it only had one owner. I mean, I loved it. It was wrong side of the tracks. Originally, I was going to go to Old South Rust, Reno, and it was $100,000 more. And, this was, not my first home. So, and I still have that. And then when I started to establish that, oh, I really, really like it up here. Then I bought a bigger house in Collin Ranch that, me always trying to strategize and plan ahead, that maybe my dad, who's partially disabled, could live part-time in, or, it had a pool because he could only do exercise with a pool. So that was my game plan. Plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D.
Yeah.
And if we get to plan D, then start over with a new plan A.
Yeah. Yes.
But I fell in love with Reno, and how I navigate the both is I have really, really good partner agents. So when I'm in Reno, I have a business partner up here that I work with. I don't co-list, like we like to do our own thing. But man, I have Johnny on the spot backup. I've got Johnny on the spot backup in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I'm always going to have a foot in the Bay Area because my parents are still alive. And
That's great.
I like to keep an eye on them. They're in their 80s. So,
certainly. That's great.
And also, all my friends are there. Well, I have a lot of good friends here now, thankfully.
Yeah.
And then I fell in love with Tahoe, right? So, it was like one listing led to another. You learn the area. Kind of, I'm better with Truckee and I'm better with incline. South Lake Tahoe, I usually parse out. It's just a little too far, as I found in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
I got stuck. Yeah.
That's
But
excellent.
and I know enough to know that if I don't think I'm going to do a good job for you, I'm going to pass you off to someone else. I'm going to tell you that. Yeah.
That's great.
Because again, I lose sleep if things go wrong.
Yeah, 100%. That's fantastic. You had mentioned eventually falling in love with Reno, right? And Tahoe's easy to fall in love with. But let's talk about Reno.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Reno's on the come up. It's on the cusp of being great. And there's a lot of people, though. I've had a couple posts go viral on Instagram that talk about Reno and Reno being, a top tier city or becoming a top tier city into the future. And a lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people say Reno's still, there's many words they used, and none of them are positive.
No, I know.
So what do you see? I mean, you've lived in the Bay for a long time. You now live in Reno. Reno's changed a lot in the past 8 to 10 years. What do you see with Reno now and into the future?
I think they're trying to do a good job of the urban planning. And, the litmus test for really good urban planning is Mission Bay in San Francisco. When I started in South of Market, which is, adjacent to Mission Bay, that master plan for the Chase Center that's down there now for, all the campuses, all the housing and everything was 20 years away. I think it took like closer to 30 years to come to fruition, but it was a master class in urban planning. And I've done some classes up here in Reno. They are trying to plan for the urban planning. Virginia Street was, one piece of it. There's a lot of challenges that city planners have across the board that people don't see. And you hear this all the time. It's like, why are they building so many housing? And I just look at them like, where do you want to put the people? Do you want your grandkids to be able to buy a house? You need to build housing. But why in my neighborhood? It was like, where else are you going to put them?
Right.
It's like, I don't understand that.
Not in my backyard.
Yeah, the NIMBYs and then the whole thing. I definitely think that Reno has significant challenges, and I understand the poor man's Vegas that it had, but I think there's some really good pockets that are stepping up. There's some really good people out here on both sides of the spectrum. It's a very purple city, and I've heard a lot because there is a certain amount of pushback for quote unquote Californians coming into and taking over Reno or any part in Nevada. And I have two sayings for that. I was like, first, California has an eighth of the U.S. population. So 1 in 8 Americans live in California. 1. 2. The second argument is we just don't want, your politics to invade our space. I understand that, having a supermajority in one party can be challenging to navigate. I've watched it. So, but my second thing to that is like, you cannot paint California with one broad brush.
No.
More Californians voted red than the top 4 red states combined in the last election.
Yeah.
It's not a one size fits all. And a lot of people that come to California are not originally from California. People move around. So those are all the things. I think Reno does a pretty good job of navigating the purple. I think they say that the biggest demographic now is a voting bloc is independents. And I think that's great because you're trying to get away from the polarized system. But, you're seeing it's the food and the culture that really make it. And because it's the last stop going to Burning Man,
Yeah.
you have a lot of great art, a lot of fantastic foods coming in, like I follow a lot of influencers, that's the first thing I learn whenever I go to a new neighborhood. Where are the good restaurants? Where do people go? What about the parks? What about this social life? They do have a problem with downtown Reno. They tried to address it with the River Walk. That kind of failed. Now they're, doing the Arlington Bridge is just opened. So they're really working on it, and Sparks is a different city, but it's kind of like, to me, it's an extension of, the whole Reno greater area.
Correct.
Yeah. And I feel really positive about it. But yeah, there's challenges. There's a lot of challenges. Yeah.
I'm from the DFW area in Texas.
wow.
And so Dallas and Fort Worth are their own city, but everything around there is just an extension of it. That's what Sparks reminds me of. But you're right in regards to, even since I've been here for 8 years, I moved out to Tahoe 8 years ago, and Reno back then was totally different than it is now. In my opinion, Midtown Reno has had it's still
rough. I mean, I own my first place. I bought a Craftsman in
there's
Midtown.
certain pockets, but like there are other pockets too that have become very great to be in. We were even there the other day, and I was like, wow, this is a nice, just walkable area with lots of
walking distance. Yeah. Look, let me tell you, everybody wants to get out of their cars. If you are looking for a place to invest, it's all about walkability. In incline, it's walkability to the private beaches. And low elevation, obviously, but you got walkability to the private beaches and everything. Everybody wants out of their cars.
Yeah, I know we're over cars, but America was built on the automobile. It's just so big; it's hard not to build it around that. What it reminds me of, though, I grew up going to Austin because my brother went to University of Texas. I had a cousin that went to University of Texas who was, in his
very high property taxes in Austin, man.
All of Texas has really, really high property taxes.
People don't talk about that. They don't talk about that with the no tax state. Like those property taxes that's how they make the money.
I'll tell you a story. I just did a loan for my cousins who bought in the Fort Worth area. They bought
so you can loan in Texas too. Where do you loan?
So mainly Reno-Tahoe, both on California and Nevada side. We have clients in the Bay Area as well.
Okay.
As you know, many clients have properties in both places.
Yeah, definitely.
It's mainly Reno-Tahoe and in Northern California. But yeah, every now and then we'll get somebody that's got an offshoot somewhere like Florida or Texas or Oregon or Washington or what have you, right? So we have the ability to do all that, and we're flexible. Bought a $450,000 house in the Fort Worth area. Their property taxes per year, do you want to guess? $450,000. Cookie cutter, not a new build, but it was
16,
less than 10 years old.
16,
$14,000 a year.
Yeah, so I was gonna say 16,000 a year. Wasn't that far off?
$14,000 a year for $450,000 place.
Yeah.
Not even a quarter of an acre, cookie cutter home.
That's over
in
$1,000 a month just in property taxes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So even if they own their house outright, all cash,
I tell people that all the time.
They still don't own the house outright.
I tell people that.
The tax man will come knocking. Yeah. Don't you worry. So yeah, it's fascinating. But back to the point of Austin.
But to your point, that's a really good point that I would like to bring up about Washoe County. They do not reassess property taxes based on purchase price like they do in everywhere else in California, and that is huge. So you buy an older property, like I did and But I started my property taxes for my little place were $600 a year.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah, that's great. The older the property in Washoe County, the better the lower the property taxes. We're actually in a deal right now. It's just under $1 million. Single family home, beautiful lot. I think it's right around an acre. $1,500 a year for property taxes. I know. Which is in California, that's $1,000. It's right under $1 million. So you're looking at $1,000 a month.
In Texas, that was 1 month of their property taxes.
Correct.
Well, one and a half.
So not only does Nevada have no state income tax, most of the counties have, I think all the counties have extremely low property tax because they make all their money through gaming tax.
Right.
So Reno, though, reminds me so much of Austin before Austin became a household name. And I say there's a cycle that every city goes through. The cycle is the city's a cool place to be. So you have lots of musicians, artists, people that create the culture, right? That culture then gets found out about. So then investment starts to come in.
Yeah.
Well, the investment kind of runs the let's say, and this is not a derogatory term at all, but the starving artist, right? Yeah. Out of town. It kind of runs it out.
In bad news, they call it gentrification.
Correct. So that happens, but then kind of the culture starts to leave and the coolness starts to leave, and then it has to
find its next pocket.
It either has to reinvent itself or it dies, like you saw San Francisco do during COVID. It died a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it reinvents itself and gets reborn again.
Yeah.
And so Reno on that cycle of life is in the investment / gentrification / that stage.
It's
still got a long runway,
It's been like that, though, because when I first came up here, 2016 was the first time that I reintroduced myself to Reno. And I was like, I don't know, a lot of strip malls. I'm not feeling it. And then you dig beneath the surface and you could see what was like coming up. And in 2017, my friend was driving me through Midtown and saying, this is the area they're trying to come up. And yeah. And then USA Today did a whole podcast on Midtown specifically and the drama down there. I mean, I think now we're starting to see big business come here. Yeah, I mean, I think Reno has a lot going for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm very bullish on Reno long.
It's got a university. It's got an international airport.
Correct. A very nice airport that's easy to navigate. Yeah, it's got a lot going for it. I had a gentleman sitting in your seat not too long ago. He's a tech entrepreneur, now he was CFO at Playboy for a while and now runs a fund. But he basically said, yeah, we've got, Northern Nevada's got UNR, which is the feeder school, just like it's not Stanford level, but Stanford's in the Bay Area and so is Cal, right? They feed into the Bay and St. Mary's and all those other schools. UNR's feeding great people into the area. He's like, we just need businesses that are high performing that allow people to, stay and do well. So if that's starting to happen, if we can figure that out, I mean, I'm super bullish on Reno over the next 10 years and people laugh at that. That's my whole point to all this is people are like, you're crazy. Reno's the armpit of Nevada. I'm like, you must not have.
They say that about Bakersfield.
I was
Bakersfield, the armpit of California. Reno is definitely not.
I'm like, you must have not have been to Reno in the past 5 years because it is. And so that's how I know. Yeah. That is exactly how I know it's right there on that. If you look at a compound growth scale, like it's right there on that curve of where it's about to take off. So that's my prediction. If you buy in Reno, I don't think you're going to go wrong.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see.
I'm double invested in Reno.
There you go. You're a real estate professional. You know better. Yeah. We'll see. Well, Meredith, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to end with before we?
No, I just really appreciate the opportunity. And again, thank you. I mean, I think I like hearing other people's perspective. And I don't really have anything other than I will say that anybody that's looking those estimates, that's a proprietary algorithm.
Let's talk about that. Let's dive into that. Let's peel the layers back. What's the Zestimate? What's the beef?
Well, I would play a game for a really, really, really long time. Both Zillow, it's a proprietary algorithm, and Redfin, their Redfin estimates, which I always thought was better than Zillow because we would check both. Redfin wasn't as big in Reno as Zillow is. Everybody checked the Zillow's estimates. They wanted to know.
Right.
And it's just came up for me again because a client I sold a place to, super smart, very tech savvy. I just sold a place to in Reno. She was like, hey, my Zillow estimate went up 30% in a week. She's like, is there something going on in my neighborhood I don't know? And I was like, no. Let me tell you. So I used to play a game where before I made a listing live, I would check the Zillow estimate and I would screenshot these.
Yeah.
And the Zestimate would be like, for instance, the one that I saved, I kept the one that I had for Incline Village. I had one on Joey Road that I did because it's just so fascinating to see how the Zestimate jumps in 30 minutes based on it. But this particular condo, and it's fresh in my mind because I did an Instagram post, the off-market Zestimate was 800 some thousand. Then I listed it for 965, and then 30 minutes later, the Zestimate was over $1 million. It was like $143,000 increase in 30 minutes.
So are they pumping the values? Just what's Zillow's gain behind all that?
So it's a proprietary algorithm. Zillow itself just put the algorithm into play. Somebody wrote code that basically is, and they weight it more heavily for what an on-market price is. And Zillow's own words are their off-market error rate is like they have an error rate of 7.1%, and their on-market error rate is only 1.3. Well, the on-market error rate is because a real estate agent went and looked at it and priced it. And also, in all my examples, both of them were ridiculously off.
Yeah.
Like that one, it ended up selling for like $950.
Right.
So both ones were stupidly off.
Right.
Don't get me started on appraisals. I could go for days on that one.
Oh yeah. Having a good appraiser is important.
I can line 5 good appraisers up and get $100,000 to a $500,000 swing depending on how big the property is. I know because it's happened to me recently too, like in the last 2 years. It's crazy. So yeah, it's an opinion of value, and really market value is what the willing buyer and a willing seller is willing to trade for. So, and there's a lot that goes into that. So yeah, no, I'm not a fan of these estimates. They're not good.
I love that. Well, thank you again. For anybody that wants to work with you, I'm going to include your contact info in the description below. I'll link to your website, all of that. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. It was a great conversation.
Thanks so much, Shay. I appreciate the invite.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.